this hall also. Okay? So let's proceed. So my topic tonight is all about guidelines for business dealings between BCBP members. And before I start, I would like to clarify two things. Kaya na naman sa culture talk, no? So this is the third talk of our culture talk, which is entitled Guidelines for Business Dealings between Members of BCBP. And as I've said, I have two things to clarify. First, let's define what is culture talk. It was discussed by our previous speakers that we are now in BCBP culture, and I would like to repeat the meaning of BCBP culture. So what is BCBP culture? It's how we do things around here. Can we all say that? BCBP culture is how we do things around here. So thank you. So BCBP is how we do things around here. In more concrete terms, it's how BCBP members deal with one another in business or even at work. And second, why is this talk important? Though the context of my talk tonight is the acceptable behavior of BCBP members when they have business dealings with other members, this teaching is being taught to each member so that they can also apply these guidelines with their business dealings outside the BCBP. So, dili lang siya within internal BCBP, but also outside BCBP, even our co-workers, colleagues. And by applying these guidelines, they will put order in business dealings so that peace and harmony will exist with those people whom they deal with. Kuha ba? So, that's why it's so important, because it's not only inside the BCBP and also outside the BCBP. You may ask why? The answer is to have a harmonious relationship with their clients and partners inside and outside the community. Kaya nga no, when BCBP members have an harmonious relationship with our co-members and outside BCBP, dali lang nato sila evangelize, which is the main mission of our BCBP, which is to bring Christ in the marketplace and to win Christ and to win marketplace with Christ. Diba, lisod man yun o establish o relationship o pag-imbita o uban kung wala tayong maayong relasyon o wala tayong maayong let's say kanang reputasyon dati atong dungog. So in order for us to be an agents of change, mao na naani nga guideline. So number 2 is if we have conflict with other BCBP members, more often than not, it will lead to breakdown of relationship and ban of unity and peace among members may severed. Mo na dayon ni hinungdan ang uban ulaylo na mag-party list system na. Mo-attend og may party kay na sila kalaing buot sa other BCBP member. So is everything clear so far? So thank you. So my topic tonight has two objectives, no? To explain with you the guidelines for business dealings between BCBP members and to give you an idea or explain the procedure on working out mga business conflicts between members. And I have a question sa inyo. Who among you here are businessmen? Pwede taas ang kamot? Can you raise your hand, businessmen? Oh, and then, how about professionals who provide services or sell products to their clients? Naghanpon, no? So now this is my burning question. No need to raise your hand. Who among you here is planning or to partner with BCBP member in your business? Or who among you here who want to sell products or services to your co-BCBP members? If your answer is yes, then my advice is, if you can avoid it, don't. No? Kung kisa to gusto magplano nga or partner with BCBP member, if you can avoid it, kung yung tubag is yes, then my advice is don't. But if you cannot avoid it, be sure to apply the guidelines that I have to discuss to you tonight. Okay? Inevitable, dili na ito malikayan. So, is everything clear so far, my dear brothers and sisters? So, let's begin. So, the first guidelines for our business dealings, proceed. The first guidelines for our business dealings between members is the basic commitment. Ayan. The basic commitment. So, the basic commitment of a BCBP member when he has business dealings with other members is to love and serve one another. This commitment takes precedence over the pursuit of profit or economic gain. It means as a BCBP member, we must be ready to meet one another's needs with our personal help and resources, and to look upon one another welfare as our own. I give you an example, Very common in BCBP is when a brother who has lost a job and he's having a financial challenge. So he may seek legal services, nagpatabang siya. So financial legal services, kinatanggal sa trabaho. So he will seek legal services and will be charged for free for some labor case. He is referring to his BCBP brother lawyer. Kanidoon man siya BCBP brother lawyer. Or pay without discount. Pay with discount or pay when the case is resolved. So diha pa lang example manifested ang loving oneself or loving one another. Another good example is when a BCBP doctor charges a BCBP member a very minimal or discounted professional fee for her maternity services or dental services or even kaniyang check-up services. Diba? And I will give you a not good example. It is facts there is a relationship nato sa BCBP. We're strained because of the unpaid borrowings. Daghang mga utang. Daghan ani diri, di ba? Oh, I don't know. Mo ni kasagaran na based sa mong chapter Lapulapu mo, daghan ni ani. But I will discuss later. So, let's move on to the second guidelines for business dealings, righteousness. As a renewed Christian, we are committed to a life of righteousness and holiness, not just individually but also as a community. All our business dealings are to be conducted in a righteous way or just way in accordance with the Christian tenets and principles pertaining to the particular business situation at hand. Diri sa BCBP, we always practice our advocacy. Kabalo ba mga no? Kanang be honest even if others are not. Be honest even if others will not, and be honest even if others cannot. So with that advocacy, we are doing our business righteously. So example, it will be inappropriate if we offer our co-BCBP member who is a purchasing officer a grease money or padanlog sa burno for him or her to approve your bid or quotation. So dili maayo, it's not righteous. Okay? So let's move on to the third guidelines for business dealings between members. It's proper stewardship. We must be a good steward of the talents and resources entrusted to us by the Lord. It is our duty and responsibility to develop, harness, and utilize them properly and to exert best effort to preserve the viability and profitability of our business in order to contribute to the common good and continue to serve each other's needs. Whether we are businessmen or professionals, we provide goods, services, and provide livelihood for employees. Example, in my line of work, naman ko sa sales, we provide goods and services to our end customers. In order for us to retain the customers and sustain our business, our approach is not just selling or taking orders. We provide them solutions based on our product range. We know the needs of our customer. We protect them during mga price increases. Kaya maghatag may protection order. Mudawat po yung mga damage stocks. And we extend technical services as support. And we always give the value of their money. So with that approach, both parties are satisfied. Okay? So let's move on to the fourth guideline for business dealings, which is the guidance of the brotherhood. Let me ask you, na ba mo yung action group? I think we're going to discuss after this talk, no, about action group. Kung wala pa, or unit, anyway, you will be assigned to an action group. It's a core group who is led by an action group leader. Okay, problems and differences arising from business relations may lead to breakdown of relationship. Such conflicts not only affect the members' commitment to love and serve one another, but also the unity and peace of our community. So business dealings with members should therefore be shared with their chapter head or action group leader. So muna nakapangutan ako, if na may action group, na once na may action group, once you have problem within your group, you always go to your action group leader as for guidance. You seek your action group leader guidance. Unit leader ba, pwede po. And these leaders should handle the situation according to their level of competence. Simply said, before entering into a business dealings with co-members, better inform or seek approval of your immediate action group leader or unit leader. Okay? So let's move on to another guidelines for business dealings, which is the chapter heads or unit group leaders or action group leaders' neutrality and independence. So, naman tayo group, it is wise policy for the leaders to generally inhibit themselves. Kani, kay puhon, once you are already in a BCBP, you will be given a service. So, basin mo, kamoy puhon chapter head, nasa inyong batch, no? And of course, action group or unit. So, this message is for all of us gihapon. This would help in safeguarding and ensuring the leader's freedom in the objective input or direction affecting not only the personal life of their men but also in the business affairs. So if we are leaders, we must avoid having business dealing with his members. But if we have already business relationship before you are appointed as a leader, then by all means, see to it that you inform your immediate superior, your leader. Better still, practice seriously these guidelines. Okay? The next one is the openness to spouse on all dealings. Di man kataganahan o away or ganahan katagpis atong pamuyo. So we need to be open to our better half, no? So then follow this. Husbands are to be open to their wife in whatever business dealings they may involve in. A wife is to secure their husband's approval before entering into any business relationship. Kaya daghaning nahitabo. Take note, husband must be open to the wife, but wife must be secure husband's approval, especially in big matters. Kaya I'll mention daghaning nahitabo nga problema. Example, investing in a condo unit, ang asawa or ang spouse without the knowledge of her seaman husband, who has surprised upon arrival gikan sa gawas nga naray dakong utang gatangad. Kaya wa man siya pahibala. So kung di pahibalo pa unta, masabutan sa duha, di ba? Agree? And now let's move on to the speech. And I know last Saturday, talk is about speech. So it's part gihapon sa business dealings. You know, in the event of malikayan, incompatible of ideas or needs, using of right and calm words is very important. So, minahon lang. It slows your anger and cool down the situations. Avoid harsh words. Katong ibang mention before siguro. Hate speech that may add and fuel the misunderstandings. We should always be guided by righteous and prudent use of speech. And most of the time, relationships are strained because of hurting words unspoken. Akong sharing na ganiha is mao gyapon nakadawat ko mga insulting hard words nga di na ko madawat, mao na naka-conflict me sa ako ang immediate boss. But with the grace of the Lord and through the help of my brothers in BCBP, na enlighten ko through their mga advices. So I know wala ni sa BCBP Manawin, wala ko example kay wala tagagamit diri mga hate speech, di ba? So let's move on and listen to this very carefully. The openness and full disclosure. We each have duty to fully disclose the material facts and the risk relative to the proposition. So kinahanglan nato ang openness, kinahanglan nato i-disclose ato yung pahibalon ang atong kanegosyo, atong kapartner sa tanang detalye, labi na kung may risgo. At the same time, there exists the responsibility of each member to seek answers and clarifications to his questions and other matters he may be unclear. O responsibilidad po, matag usa nga mohatag og saktong tubag sa mga pangutana o kalibog nga wala niya masabtan sa inyong business transaction or negosyo. Misunderstanding should always be avoided to preserve peace and harmony between among the members. So always remember, peace and harmony jud ato ang i-preserve. Kaya mao lagi kung wala na ng peace and harmony, ang tendency either na usa nga ma-derail or mawala na sa tuwang grupo kay mo laylo na. So mo nang as much as possible we maintain peace and harmony sa ato ang relasyon. And then one of makatabang ani is ang full disclosure regarding all the facts and circumstances kung naaman tayo business dealings. Example ani, kung as a real estate agent, you must inform your BCBP member client na property that you are selling is prone to flooding during rainy season, but it can be remedied. So non-disclosure would create some misunderstanding later. Kung di mo siya sultian, nating ulan na, ano mo sulti nga mo baha rin ang napita, gugot jud mo duha, basulon ka. Mao ra gihapon ni o kana mamaligya kag sakyanan, labi na ron ulan-ulan, unya nakaagilay ka ng UCLM, nagsubang dako, unya diya sa may Fortuna, nabahaan mo sakyanan, tungod kinabahan na gusto mo baligya, you need to inform your buyer about unsay nagian sa imong sakyanan. Diba? Kay lisod man sad, as a Christian, we are following the Christian tenets, mga maayong buhat. So di man sad maayo nang nabahaan ato sakyanan ato nang sulti nga wala na niagi bahag sa galangoy-langoy na dito, di ba? So mao na siya ang one of example sa full disclosure. Another example is when a brother contractor had misunderstanding with his client BCBP member. When the BCBP contractor billed for additional charges for the changes that the BCBP client instituted in their house. So nagpabuhat in taon ang BCBP client to a BCBP contractor sa iyang balay. Kaso lang, may additional charges sa contractor na bill. So the BCBP client na katong additional charges, it was not a back job. So the project was put on hold until they resolved. Kani mga tinuod niya example na that conflict could have been prevented if they put into writing their agreements. So listen to this, my dear friends. There may be a danger for each member to take each other for granted. There is possibility of a member abusing relationship with another member. Therefore, as much as possible, reduce all agreements to writing. Again, reduce all agreements to writing as a record of the agreements and mutual expectation of the members concerned. And the spirit of agreements, written man or verbal, is to be honored at all times. When appropriate, regular or periodic reports are to be made to keep members concerned abreast of development. Sisters and brothers, if there's one important guideline that I want you to implement strictly, is the above guideline. Kanang reduce all agreements to writing. Can we all say that? Reduce. Thank you, my dear brothers and sisters. So now let's move on to working out of conflicts. This is the last one of the guidelines. Being member of the same body or community, we are duty bound to exert every effort to resolve any conflict or misunderstanding in an amicable manner. Once again, to preserve loving personal relationship and to prevent harm or injury to the community. If the controversy cannot be resolved by the members involved, bisan pa niyato na sila sa ilang action group leader or unit leader, the dispute should be elevated to the chapter head or to whomever the ExCom may designate to handle the dispute. Then court litigation should only be resolved to as last resort. It is not good for BCBP to have members suing each other. Kabalo na mo, gasto pa, lain pa o pan, di ba? Lungog. So, mo na ang likayan yun nato nga maabot na sa korte. As much as possible, bisan o ka ng normal case, as much as possible na among yun ay amicable settlement before. Di na yun magkakuan kaso na yun. So kita, likayan yun nato na to preserve loving personal relationship with each other. So, can we all repeat what we have learned about guidelines for business dealings between BCBP members? Can you join me? Number 1 is basic commitment, righteousness, proper stewardship, brotherhood, the chapter heads or unit leaders, action group leaders, neutrality or independence. Okay, speech, openness and full disclosure, and 9 is working out of conflicts. So that's the first part. So, okay ba ang tanan? For the second part is about specific business relationship. As mentioned to you, we are discouraged or avoid to do or conduct business with our fellow BCBP members. But we are encouraged to support the business of our fellow members as a way of our serving and loving one another. Doing business with fellow members is inevitable. Dili yun nato malikayan, especially on the specific business relationship nga akong i-discuss sa inyo ha. So number 1, nga relationship is about corporation, partnership, and joint venture. In this kind of business relationship, all possible conflict of interest situations are to be avoided, and the member concerned has the duty to make full disclosure. So kinahanglan ang full disclosure and all facts and circumstances involved in the business proposition. If ever na a problem arise, the involved members must inhibit himself from all deliberations on the matter, and he can only proceed with the express consent of the other members. Decisions are to be made by consensus or the majority and need not always unanimous. But if a member nagapon sa serious objection and thereby adversely affect the peace of the community, the alternative would be buy out the dissenting member. So, kung ato sa corporation, normally naaman na yung mga bylaws, naaman, including joint venture, na yung mga bylaws sila. But kung na-ay conflict, muna, labi na o BCBP members, so, ang tendency, ang inhibit ng mga involved na i-dispute para malikayan. So, katong na-ay problema, i-settle to between katong mga corporators, katong mga members sa corporation. So kung di yun ma-kuan dyan, na-adjust serious objection katong involved, so pwede siya i-kuan to nimo, pwede siya mugawa sa corporation, ibayar ka niya share. Kung di yun, not silbi yun, mo na that's the time, we need the help of our action chapter head, dalitso ta sa atong chapter head, or to whomever the ExCom will designate. And during this time, always make sure that all writing should be done by the parties involved in front of the lawyer. Note, ang conflict of interest is a situation in which members' personal interest conflict with professional interest of the other party member. Full disclosure is a must by the member. Example, conflict of interest. A member invested in a snack business with a member and then invested again with a burger joint, or apil po siya another joint with another member. So diha pa lang daan conflict of interest na. Kami po, as my personal experience, I have mentioned to you na ako'y nami business with my wife katong bakery. Among partner ato, ako ang sister-in-law. But mo lagi ni kaning bago pa sa negosyo, why kasulatan dong dili mi BCBP members that time pa. Mo lagi na nga wala mi kasabutan. So ang tendency, wala full disclosure, naagyon ng reklamuhay kanang especially on sharing sa profit, kinsay mo handle ani. So dili klaro. So ang tendency kami misis mag-away mi as a result no. So mo na maghilag na sa mga dili naglalis labi na nga daghan na inyong branches. So mo na very stressful nga until such time we realize nga nanapon mi sa BCBP na inuklog na mo. Labi na nga nagdagko na po ng bata nga isarado na lang para ma-maintain ang loving relationship with, of course, my wife or na mag-away, and then, of course, in-laws na involved. So, wala na, full disclosure yun, importante kayo. So, another specific business relationship is kaming supplier, professional, or customer-client relationship. A supplier of products or services also has the obligation to look after the welfare of his client. However, the pricing of products and services must be in the light of teaching on proper stewardship. Dili na, grabe ka, profiteering na kayo, grabe ang ginansya, in which no member is required or expected to suffer business loss or to impair the assets of his business or prejudice in the interest of his other partners or investors. Nevertheless, the obligation to be generous to one another remains now, but need not be limited to business transaction only. For example, assisting a member from one's personal resources may be called for. And it is incumbent also upon the client customer to clarify himself about the product or service so as not to have false or erroneous expectation para lang ma-manage ang atong expectations. Once agreements are entered into and commitments are made, each member must faithfully comply and be steadfast to his word. So once another agreement, we need to comply based on the agreement. Wag black and white siya. A good example of this is a BCBP customer plans to build a commercial building. So BCBP customer buys some construction materials. So the BCBP supplier observed that the ordered iron bars are undersized or substandard based on gihatag ng PO. So the BCBP supplier recommended the right one at a higher price. Kay di man mao, pero mahal ang presyo, pero hindi pa ibalo. But the BCBP customer said he is short of budget. So tungod kay ilisan man niya kung sakto, na short of budget ano ang usa. So the BCBP supplier offered kay tungod kay kuan niya ang loving relationship, so duol sa BCBP. So the BCBP supplier offered the maximum discount and can be paid into a more liberal terms with post-dated checks pa. The BCBP supplier even offered the BCBP customer sa iyang concrete mixer. So yung anak, tadiri ang supposedly ang ato ang business dealings kung naamang galing between members. See, so we can help our client member in many ways. Another one is employer-employee. The member employee can expect same level of performance from member employee, just like the treatment he made to a non-member employee. Usahay man ko, tag-iya na ta, BCBP member ta, tag-iya tag company niya. Ang ato ang executive, atong ipa-appeal diri sa BCBP, so employer-employee ang relationship. So, in that case, si employee dili magsalig nga tungod kay ang iyahang boss o ang tagkuhan, ang tag-iya kasi di na noon siya mo perform. So, dapat as a BCBP member, ang executive, imo kaya kung buhaton ang imong tanan with zeal. In the same way, ang tag-iya po as a BCBP member, ang iyang treatment same lang gihapon with a non-BCBP member. With deserving to be loved and respect. So, all na siya about employee and employer relationship. So, si employer dapat ni just siya, fair and righteous are expected from him. In return, the member employee must strive with greater zeal and efficiency. Unang dili siya magsalit kaya yung amo is his brother. So, let's move on to another specific business relationship, the borrower-lender. Bawal ba na kong liingon nga, daghan ani, labi na sa akong ibanan. In BCBP, we are encouraged to help one another with our resources. Ang atong resources, either money or sa bana, extend help or sa material. By doing this, we also encourage to see the development of our fellow members especially those who are in need in all areas of life like growth, maturity, responsibility, and good order. Like example, ani kanang borrower lender, na we can't avoid nga daghan sa atong member approach us to borrow money. If we belong to a certain unit and action group, better to inform our leader in case it involve money that you don't want to lose. Ang rule of thumb ani, if you lend money, only if you are willing to lose this money. Pero kung di ka ganahan mawala ni nga kwarta, ayaw ipahulam. Kung gusto man mo ipahulam, panangin sa tuwang action group leader or unit leader. Para at least po, katong nang hulam, mag-guidean po in terms of maturity, in terms of how to handle her or his finances, maturity niya, how to, kanang other matters involved, money or financing or accounting. No? So maura yun na, ang rule of thumb kay daghan sa BCBP ang medyo naglain ang treatment is because of na ay unpaid borrowing. So maura yun na ang rule of thumb, kung pahulang ta o kwarta lang na willing ta nga mawala. Kung dili ta ganahan mawala na kwarta, ayaw ipahulam and then seek advice to action group leader or any leader na nasa inyong group para mag-guidean ang both parties. So, moving on, openness is necessary to preserve good personal relationship. Leaders are encouraged and inhibit from borrowing from your members. Kung masunod ba leaders na, dali na, kita ba yung leader, dali na ni Hulman. So, it should not that way, no? Leaders must inhibit from borrowing from their members. And if needed, special guidance and approval from council is required and written agreement should be in place. Okay? And now let's go to the last specific business relationship, the broker-client. Just like sa atong professional client or supplier-customer relationship, the welfare of each client should be a priority. So, kinahanglan full disclosure of all known facts, circumstances, risks, opportunities should be declared to maintain good relationship and transparent in all dealings. So parties to the transaction must remain good stewards. So that's the 5 specific business relationship, my dear ates and kuyas. Corporation, supplier, personal relationship, tanan, it's kato atong di-mention kanina mga guidelines, it revolve around this specific business relationship. So my dear friends, atis and kuyas, what I have discussed to you this evening just the guidelines, no, in doing business between members. I understand your desire to help one another as our way of showing our love to our brother members or sister members. I hope that I enlightened you tonight, and this will also be the guide you for discernment in dealing business or offering professional services with our fellow BCBP members. Let us always stay on course on our BCBP journey by bringing Christ in the marketplace and win the marketplace for Christ. And before I end, I would like to share with you the reading from Ephesians. Make every effort to keep among you the unity of spirit through bonds of peace. Again, I repeat, make every effort to keep among you the unity of spirit through bonds of peace. So thank you for listening and have a great evening, my dear brothers and sisters.